Malaysia bags 6 gold medal. Manufacturing sales Malaysia IPI increased. Cocaine worth 40 million US dollars found near DIVER'S body. Those are the headlines for tonight. I'm Hendy Gui and this is TVS Nightline. Hanis Nazirul Jayasuriya Jelson Jabilin claimed Malaysia's 6th gold medal in Hanoi SEA Games in diving after winning the men's 10-meter platform synchro final on Tuesday, May 10th. Meanwhile, Ng Yan Yi had earlier gifted Malaysia its 5th gold in diving after winning the 3-meter springboard final.
It was Yan Yi's second gold after winning the 3-meter synchro final with debutant Ong Ker Ying on Monday, May 9. Ker Ying dived her way to a silver in the individual event behind Yan Yi. Yan Yi finished with 270.60 points, while Ker Ying claimed 242.20 points. Oi Tse Liang clinched Malaysia's 3rd gold medal in diving at the Hanoi SEA Games earlier after winning the men's 1-meter springboard individual final. It is the 2nd gold medal for the Penang-born diver who partnered with Chiu Yi Wei to win the men's 3-meter springboard synchro event on Sunday, May 8. Tse Liang finished with 377.70 points in the 6th dive competition on Monday, May 9th. On Sunday, May 8, Nur Nabitah Sabri amassed 290.45 points to win the gold, while her compatriot Kimberly Bong took the silver with 230.00 points. This was also the first gold medal on offer at the Biennial Games before the official opening ceremony on Thursday, May 12.
Australian police on Tuesday, May 10th, launched a probe after 50 kilograms of suspected cocaine, estimated to be worth about 40 million US dollars, was found near the body of a diver.
The body had washed up on a riverbank in New South Wales state. Clad in high-end diving equipment, was found lying unconscious near the Hunter River at Newcastle, about 170 kilometers north of Sydney on Monday, May 9. Several packages which contain a white powder believed to be cocaine were located near the body.
During inquiries and investigations of the area, a large amount of what we believe are drugs were located not far from the dead man, and inquiries are continuing as to where those drugs came from, whether this man had any links to it at all. The vicinity of the dead man was a large vessel registered overseas known as the Ariti, which had left from Argentina to travel to Australia.
The identity of the victim has yet to be known. Investigators searched an overseas registered ship dock near the crime scene and took the crew's statement. 2 small boats were reportedly seen floating near the vessel on Sunday night, and authorities sought public help to identify them.
Both manufacturing sales and Malaysia's Industrial Production Index IPI have increased in March 2022. On further elaboration on the matter, we will have our reporter Moika on the line.
Now, according to the Department of Statistics Malaysia, DOSM, in a statement released, both manufacturing sales and Malaysia's Industrial Production Index IPI have increased in March 2022. Manufacturing sales rose 13.9% to record the highest value of 144.6 billion ringgit in March 2022 from 126.9 billion ringgit in the same period last year. With the monthly statistics report for March 2022, the sales value increased 9.8% from the previous month. Chief Statistician Dato' Dr. Muhammad Uzair Mahidin said the growth in sales value in March 2022 was driven by the electrical and electronic products subsector, especially in the manufacture of computers, electronic and optical products. The expansion was also attributed by the food, beverage, and tobacco subsector, supported by the manufacture of food products industries, as well as the petroleum, chemical, rubber, and plastic products subsector, mainly in the manufacture of coke and refined petroleum products industries. Mohammad Uzair said the growth of sales value for export-oriented industries was in similar trend with the external trade exports and the price factors that remain favorable. Now, in the country's Industrial Production Index (IPI), there was an increase of 5.1% in March 2022 compared to the same month of the previous year, driven by growth in three indices, namely manufacturing, electricity, and mining. Mohammad Uzair said the manufacturing index rose 6.9%, the electricity index inched up 0.8%, and the mining index added 0.3%. On a month-on-month basis, the IPI increased 8.6%, supported by expansion in all components of indices. The increase was driven by the positive growth of 5.7% in the natural gas index, while the crude oil and condensate index deteriorated by 6.8%. The mining index registered an increase of 7.2% from the previous month, whereas the electricity sector output rose 0.8% in March 2022 compared to the same month of the previous year.
Sarawak government is looking into adding more international flights by the end of this year. Transport Minister Dr. Sri Lee Kim Shin said discussions with the relevant airline companies are underway.
The AirAsia Pontianak Kuching route is expected to resume once the Indonesian border is open. As of now, only two international airlines have resumed operation to Sarawak, namely the Brunei and Singapore.
Now, the government is in the midst of studying the need to install smart traffic lights in the effort to overcome the traffic congestion in Cebu. Once implemented, the congestion issues will be reduced to 30%.
Transport Minister Datuk Sri Lee Kim Shin said the matters are being discussed with Sarawak Multimedia Authority SMA. He said this after chairing a meeting with Cebu Divisional Traffic Committee DPTC on Monday. Also present at the meeting were Deputy Ministers of Transport Datuk Dr. Jadip Susil, Deputy Minister of Public Health, Housing and Local Government Michael Tiang, Bukit Asek Assemblyman Joseph Cheng, and Cebu resident Wong Hee Sian.
Sarawak is considering to have lorry terminals set up in every major town statewide. The transport ministries are now looking into the matter on the viability of the need of such facilities, taking into account the number of road networks in the state.
Terminal now, I think we are coming up with a new proposal, a new concept, where we will not be having just a lorry parking place already. It will be a lorry terminal, because we have to look into the logistic industry in Sarawak, throughout the whole Sarawak. It cannot be like this anymore.
Therefore, terminals equipped with warehouses, living spaces and dining places.
We have to have proper terminal where we have facilities, where we have warehousing, where the goods arrive, they can unload the goods in the warehouse, and then the smaller lorry, the 3-ton lorry, so they come there and pick up the goods. In the terminal, we have facilities, we have accommodation, cheap accommodation for the lorry driver. They can rest there, next day continue the journey.
He said so after inspecting the parking sites for lorries at Jalan Ding Ling Kwong on Monday.
Coming up right after the break, Marcos returns to power, leveraging on digital ecosystem. Right here on TVS Nightline, stay tuned. Welcome back. Now, Filipinos express mixed feelings after awaking to a new but familiar political dawn after an election triumph by Ferdinand Marcos Jr. paved the way for a once unimaginable return to the country's highest office for its most notorious political dynasty. With that, around 400 people staged a protest outside the election commissioned against Marcos.
Demonstrators, mostly students, chanted slogans and waved Philippine national flags in the protest against Marcos, citing election irregularities.
Namin yung pangangailangan para kumilos dahil tuloy-tuloy yung pagpasok ng ulat ng mga dayaan, ng mga sira-sirang makina, mga vote counting machines, ng mga iba't ibang forma ng harassment mula sa electoral board, mula sa police, yung mga panghaharas rin sa mga poll watchers mismo, mga instances of vote buying. So lahat ng mga ito, very alarming siya para sa mga...
Marcos, better known as Bongbong, trounced bitter rival Leni Robredo to become the first candidate in recent history to win a Philippines presidential election majority. This marks a stunning comeback by the son and namesake of an ousted dictator that has been decades in the making. Marcos's runaway victory in Monday's election now looks certain, with 96% of the eligible ballots counted in an unofficial tally, showing he has more than 30 million votes, double that of Robredo. Meanwhile, an official result is expected around the end of the month. Though Marcos, 64, campaigned on a platform of unity, political analysts say his presidency is unlikely to foster that, despite the margin of victory. Thousands of opponents of Marcos Sr. suffered persecution during a brutal 1972 to 1981 era of martial law, and the family name became synonymous with plunder, cronyism, and extravagant living, with billions of dollars of state wealth disappearing.
Well, I'm speaking from my parents' experience of the Marcos regime, and it was terrifying, scary. My grandfather was held at gunpoint just for wanting to go to a clinic at night. So hearing that with, other countries' elections, it's terrifying. If he would be sitting in for 6 years, that would mean when I get married, when I get a job, when I have children, he will be sitting where how my mother, lived when she was younger. It was a hard life, Scary.
Additionally, the Marcos family has denied wrongdoing, and many of its supporters, bloggers, and social media influencers say historical accounts are distorted.
Ferdinand Marcos Jr.'s rise to victory in the Philippines election is not surprising, but Marcos's lead by wide margin was not expected. Our Manila-based analyst Marisa Raman said Marcos's return to power meant that the Philippines is gravitating towards strong politics.
I basically think that the reason people are gravitating towards someone like Bongbong Marcos in the Philippines is because they've become very disillusioned with, this whole liberal democracy thing, which the opposition has been touting, and which has been developing in the Philippines since they had their People's Power Revolution in 1986. That was when liberal democracy kind of came into the Philippines. But I think people have become very disillusioned with the idea of like liberal democracy and the things that come with it, because they haven't actually seen any improvement in their lives.
She said, coupled with COVID-19 pandemic, the situation worsens the economic inequality in the country and push more people into poverty. Additionally, she said Marcos' stand on ASEAN and China is inconsistent.
From the ASEAN perspective, Bongbong hasn't really been clear about his foreign policy with regards to ASEAN specifically. So we don't know whether his tenure will actually benefit ASEAN or it won't, especially because his position with China tends to change from time to time. It shifts a lot. So his campaign has been very vague on how he would interact with the ASEAN leadership. But it should be noted that Bongbong has openly said, and he's the only popular candidate to say this during the campaign, is that he will continue Duterte's foreign policy of more engagement with China. Tapi it's interesting because when it comes to the issue of the South China Sea, Marcos takes a different stance. So he claimed that he would push towards creating and enforcing the code of conduct, which the ASEAN countries have discussed before this. So he wants to push a code of conduct between ASEAN and China with regards to the South China Sea. It's kind of unclear if Marcos made these claims because he genuinely intends to enforce them, or if he just wanted to tap into the Filipino voter dissatisfaction over China's actions in the region.
She said that whether or not Marcos' presidency will lead to a tougher stance remains to be seen.
Sarawak will be the first state in Malaysia to implement the Lotus Voyager Group or LVG learning platform to educate on Sarawak as a tourist destination and its tourism products. The platform will enable more collaboration with tourism professionals around the world and will be highlighting Sarawak's wonders in 5 different modules, namely culture, adventure, nature, food, and festivals.
Since the launch of these modules in early April, there are currently 1,346 outbound tour operators in the region who are ready to enroll in the course. We are expecting over 10,000 selective travel agents to be trained under the course by the end of 2022. Leveraging on its networking facilities will also provide our Sarawak tourism stakeholders the opportunity to network and create collaboration with its active members all around the world, all year round.
The program will also assign 1,000 new users for the course every month, with promotions lined up in India, the Nordic market, and in the UK in the upcoming months. Meanwhile, STB's digital director Melvin Jong hopes that the LVG learning platform could achieve the objective of its creation.
We hope to be able to answer the questions: who is coming to Sarawak? Where are they coming from? Why are they here? What are they doing in Sarawak? And how did they enter Sarawak? Users of the STB Intel can also monitor changes and compare, such as year against year figures. What's the current share of voice? Share of voice being how many people are searching for Sarawak compared to other states in Malaysia. And they can also look at online ratings of our products, such as those found on TripAdvisor and other very popular tourism websites.
The tourism industry has been transformed further via STB Intel, an online data platform containing data compiled from government agencies, tourism websites, and Google Analytics. These data are accessible to tourism industry stakeholders to create more informed strategies and develop more targeted products while having a direct communication channel with the Sarawak Tourism Board STB. STB Intel and LVG Learning Platform are accessible to tourism players at Sarawak Tourism Board's official website at www.sarawaktourism.com.
There is strength in numbers, and organizing it is vital in order for Sarawak to restore Sarawak's right and demand greater allocation. Therefore, the people must carry out their rights to vote in the upcoming general election.
In order to be really someone that can protect Sarawak, to demand the money and the power back, it's not just talking. We need to have enough numbers to demand that. So it's very important for Sarawakian to remain united. I hope that Sarawakian, we can be like how we fight COVID, the solidarity and help each other, how we fight COVID. And that spirit, same spirit, should carry forward to the next GE.
Dr. Sim was met on Monday after lighting the White Cat statue at Padungan Roundabout in conjunction with Wesak Day celebration. He said under Gabungan Party Sarawak GPS, the state has always been vocal in demanding 1/3 of representatives from Sabah and Sarawak in Parliament to safeguard the rights of both Bornean states. Meanwhile, the Minister of Public Health, Local Government and Housing urged eligible individuals for the second booster dose to get the shot as soon as possible. This comes as the take-up rate for the second booster dose among eligible individuals over 60 with comorbidities in the state is low, with only 2,000 or 0.625% out of 100,000 eligible recipients taken the shot so far.
Urge those who are at risk, who are eligible, please make use of the opportunity to get your second booster dose. Yeah.
AirAsia will respond to consumer issues, including flight delays and rescheduling, to the Ministry of Domestic Trade and Consumer Affairs (KPD) and HEP within 24 hours. Its Minister Dr. Sri Alexander Nantalinggi said the ministry had made a preliminary probe in terms of consumer interest under the ministry's purview and contacted AirAsia management for feedbacks.
He said although the aviation industry was under the purview of the Transport Ministry, the ministry will intervene if it was related to consumer rights. Thus, he urged the Transport Ministry and the Malaysian Aviation Commission (MAVCOM) to be more proactive on issues pertaining to AirAsia's flight delays and rescheduling. Among the issues highlighted in the initial engagement with AirAsia are flight delays, review of flight schedules of up to more than 6 hours, as well as consumers' eligibility for compensation in the event of flight delays. On Monday, Nanta said the ministry would probe on delays and rescheduling of domestic flights involving AirAsia, following complaints received from consumers of AirAsia flight delays to various destinations in the country are ongoing since detected by the end of April.
Thank you for staying with me. Now, Malaysian-born Los Angeles Times journalist Marcus Yem has won the Pulitzer Prize for Breaking News Photo category. He won the coveted award for his poignant, searing pictures taken during the fall of Kabul, Afghanistan, to Taliban fighters.
The Los Angeles Times describes Yam's work as a journalist with a warrior's courage and a poet's heart. The paper added that Yam was able to take the photos despite being manhandled by one of the insurgents, saying that he also overcame the technical hurdles of transmitting images out of a war zone. It said Yam's prize was for what the judges describes as raw and urgent images of the U.S. departure from Afghanistan that captured the human scars of the historic change in the country. Yam shared the award for breaking news photography with 4 photographers from Getty Images. The 4 won the Pulitzer Prize for their comprehensive photos of the January 6, 2021 attack on the U.S. Capitol. Yam's editors said the journalists employed an almost radical open-mindedness to capture scenes that epitomize the chaotic end of the United States' 20-year occupation of Afghanistan. His award was the 49th Pulitzer Prize for the Times since 1942, including 6 gold medals for public service.
Now that's all the time we have for TVS Nightline. For more headlines, head to our website tvstv.my or follow us on our social media. I'm Handy Gui. Thank you for watching.